Hello everyone, it's Caleb over here, and welcome to the Spoudazo Book Review Podcast. Today I'll be sharing with you little secrets that can really transform your reading habit or your reading lifestyle. Life is all about the little things, and that is why sometimes people tend to miss it. And it is in that same regard, if you want to develop a very great reading lifestyle, these are certain little habits that I think if you would put into your life, or if you develop in your life, it can really augment your reading lifestyle. What are these habits? So the first one I want to share with you is the habit of reading books in cars, or in your car, or in your transport or public transport, whatever means of travel you use. Now, one thing I've realized is that a lot of people, when they are traveling, when they are using public transport, or especially when they are not driving, if you are driving, then it means that you are not really fast, because if you are driving, you really need to listen. But one thing that a lot of people are fond of, and I tend to wonder why, because let me give you an example. Someone wakes up very early in the morning and then uses the road for about 2 hours to work. Now, those 2 hours, instead of just looking outside, staring at the streets, staring at people, you can use that period of time to read a book, to read something. And I developed this habit, or it was one of my mentors that really taught me this habit. And then he spoke about how he developed it some time ago, of how he's also in a car and he's going somewhere, and then he takes that time to read. And I can tell you, from the time I took up that habit, I can tell you I've read many books. I've finished books in public transport. We call it trotro. There are many books that I've finished in public transport. There are many books that I've read over and over in public transport. I recall, in my undergrad days, there was this particular book that I read it more than like 3 times, because those times, if I'm leaving Legon, because then I was in Legon Better, and if I'm leaving Legon back home, that's like about roughly, because of the traffic and all of that, like putting in all of those factors, that's like roughly like 2 hours. And I can just read that small book. Then it was one of those small pamphlets. I can read it over and over again. Going home, I'll read it. Coming back, I'll read it. And I think it's one of the secrets to really having a great lifestyle. One of the habits you can develop if you really want to have a great reading lifestyle. I think one of the habits is by reading in public transport, reading in cars, reading anywhere at all you find yourself. So if you are traveling by way of plane, you can also adopt that. So instead of just staring on the streets, looking at what people are doing and all of that, you can really use that time to read something. Earlier I was telling you how it's about the little things. I think one of the reasons why people don't really think it's a very great deal. Why should I'd rather make time and read it, because they feel like, how many pages at all can I exhaust in that journey? But it's not really about, maybe I really want to force and then finish one whole book in one journey. But even if you're able to read 5 pages in that journey, that is something. So another time you continue, and if you learn this habit, because we are always using public transport, or we are always using means of transportation. There's nowadays you hardly find someone saying, I'm going somewhere and I'm just walking all the way there. There are times we walk and all of that, but it's not everywhere at all we are going to, and then we are always walking. So everyone, anywhere, anytime, one way or the other, uses public transport. And I thought that it's one of the habits that can really augment your reading lifestyle. 2, another habit that can also augment your reading lifestyle is by listening to audiobooks. Yes, listening to audiobooks. Well, because I am not really a big fan of audiobooks, because I love reading. I want to have a full lot of books and all of that. But when it gets to a situation where I think that I can make use of an audiobook, I do that. Because there are times that maybe you are tired and then you want to listen to the book instead of reading it. I mean, you can get an app. There are many apps on Google Play Store or on the App Store that will help you. I mean, that reads the book out to you. And these are great tools that I think, I mean, you can make use of to really augment your reading life. As I said, I do that. I once in a while I make use of audiobooks, especially books that I really love and have really blessed my life. What I just do is that in times where I feel like, oh, maybe this time I don't really want to read, so I really want to listen. Sometimes I use YouTube. Let's go on YouTube. I type the book, I get the audio version, I listen to it, and I'm good to go. So you really need to try audiobooks. I have a friend, he is like a really big fan of audiobooks. I mean, he's also on YouTube, Father ACN. Yes, you can check out his page. He's really like a big fan of audiobooks, and he already likes you. So he's also really a big fan of audiobooks. So, I mean, I encourage you to check out, or develop that habit, the habit of using audiobooks, especially in times where you are not really in that mood where you feel like you really want to read something, but you still want to be in an atmosphere where knowledge is being shared. Alright, so another habit that can really augment your reading lifestyle, when I say augment, you can take it to another level, is by having a library. Yes, by having a library. You know, one nice thing about having a library is that someone once said, when you even have a library, even the mere fact of you sitting and gazing at the books alone, it brings a certain satisfactory feeling. Like just having the books arranged before you would make you read. And that's why some of you don't, because I mean, you don't really have any library. You don't have a place where your books are stacked orderly. So even with those who have books, the books are maybe arranged, even boxes are hidden. But when when your books are really arranged orderly, you have a library somewhere that you really, customized, or you've built, or you've gotten, or you bought from somewhere. You have your books really arranged. It's like the books are always already speaking to you. So just you passing by them every day, the books are sending you a message, and you always find out that seeing them alone, you remember that, wow, I think I have to read this book, I have this book there, I have to read. So I really encourage you. I mean, if you don't have a library, like, you are really missing. Like at this stage. Another time I'll share with you how I built my library. I have a customized library back at home. I took my time to build it because then I had many books. And because I had many books, I realized that no, a small library will not help. Another time I'll share that story with you. For now, I'm just leave it. But that is another habit, or that is another thing that I think can really help you when you have a library. So God, that whenever I go to a place and I know that I'm really going to stay there for so long, one of the things I try to do is that if I get there and I know that maybe a library, a personal library, is not maybe in that room, and when I'm talking about library, I don't necessarily mean a big room, and I'm talking about your personal library. So I try to maybe find out how I can get one, a place where I can get my book stand. I know that, because your books are your friends. If you understand the power of books, you know that when you have a book in your house, you literally have that author in your house living with you. Yes, when you have a book in your house, it's like you're in an interview session whenever you read a book. So whenever you have a book in your house, come on, you literally are in an interview session, or you have that author in your house. That's why we don't joke with books. Books are a blessing. That's one of our slogans, that books are a blessing. So the next habit, which I think would really augment your reading lifestyle, is by being in an association of readers. Yes, some of you, the reason why you find it very hard to read is because even you don't even have friends who read. There's a law in this world called the law of association. The law of association is in the scriptures. The Bible says that he who walks with the wise goes wise, but the companion of fools suffers harm. So, in the law of association, if you want to go somewhere, just get yourself close to someone who you find is working in that grace, or that thing you want to really enjoy in life. Because as you associate with a person, the Bible says that iron sharpens iron. As the countenance of one man, that's the other. So for most of you don't even have friends who read. And because you don't have friends who read, there's no encouragement. But imagine you had friends who read, friends you sit down and you talk to about, friends that you sit and you discuss books, you discuss ideas. Someone said, I think it was Denzel Washington or one great movie actor. He said, small minds discuss people, and said normal minds discuss places also. But he said, great minds discuss ideas. So, you don't really have a company where you people sit and then you people talk about. It's like I have friends who read, friends who even motivate me to read. Like friends that we meet to talk about books, to talk about ideas, we share ideas. So that one alone even has a way of encouraging me to read something. Because when you meet, and that is we are not sharing knowledge to show off. But realize that come on, I've read this book. I really learned. There was this great friend I had, Michael, Michael Amel. Hey, come on, whenever we met, we are always talking about a book that we've read. We are just sharing ideas. We are just talking about one book or the other. You always read, you always want to read something. You always want to read something. There was one book that he really spoke to me about, and it really changed my life. So some of you, that's why we find it very hard. But I think that is one. So that one, it's something that can really, augment your reading lifestyle, because you realize that you have friends who read. So even just being close or being around them, it has a way of encouraging you. And then finally, I think one other habit that can augment your reading lifestyle is by having a bookshop. Yes, having a bookshop. When I talk of having a bookshop, I mean having a place that you know that you visit regularly. When you are in search of books. Let me give you an example. Everyone, I'm sure you listening to me or you watching me one way or the other, you have your favorite food joint. It may be a beach joint, it may be a jollof joint, wachi joint. These are all Ghanaian dishes. In case you are watching from an international, or you are watching from somewhere else, these are Ghanaian dishes. So wachi joint, or let's say pizza joint, and then burger joint, shawarma joint, like those on the international scope. Now, because you have a joint that you love, you know that amongst all the joints around, this is where I really love. I know that if I go here, I'm going to get my best beans, or my best wachi, or my best jollof rice, or whatever. You know that then whenever you're hungry, you go there. And I think that's why some people, because when you have a bookshop that you know that whenever I visit this bookshop, this is a place that I go to regularly for my, because when you find an avid reader, one of the questions when you ask him, where do you get your books? Mostly they'll tell you, oh, maybe it's this place, 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 it's this place. Yes. So I encourage you. I have a bookshop that I visit, like mostly even in a month. I know that at least I visit the place like once in a month. It's not planned, but I know that at least in a month I have to be there for a book or something, because I know that this is a place where I go to for my books. This is my go-to books. So I encourage, there are many books around in Accra. Many bookshops, I beg your pardon, in Accra around. If you want to get a place, I encourage you, go online, search. You can get in touch with me. I'll later we'll talk about that. But for now, I'm talking about things or habits or ways to augment your reading lifestyle. I wanted this to be the last one, but let me just add this to it. I think another thing that can really augment your reading lifestyle is by preparing to buy books whenever you are going for a conference or whenever you are going for a major program. One of the things you realize is that at major programs or at major conferences or seminars, books are sold over there. People come around to sell books. Even sometimes the authors or sometimes the speakers themselves come, and then as they are speaking, they'll talk to you about the books that they've written. If you don't go prepared, and many a times what I've realized is that some of these speakers who come around, some of their books are hard to find. Sometimes when they come around, that seminar, that's the place to find those books. And many times, maybe because you've not gone prepared, you see the book, it's nice, but you can't ask them to just give it to you on credit and later you come and pay, because you hardly find them, and some of their books are not really in the regular bookshops around so that you can get an and buy. So I think it's one of the things that if you develop can really help. Because for me, many times I'm going for conferences, I try and have some money on me that I know that in case I find a book that I would love to buy, I can buy. And so I think it's one thing that if you develop, it can really augment your reading lifestyle. It can take your reading lifestyle to another level. Because some of the books that have really blessed my life were not books I bought even in the regular bookshop I said earlier that I visit a lot. Some of them are books that I bought just at a conference, and most of them I didn't really pre-plan that I'll buy this book or I'll find this book. But because I knew that, I'm going for a conference, let me just have some money on it in case I find a book around that I want to buy, and I'll buy. Recently, even I went for a conference. It was even a Friday service somewhere, and then one great doctor, who is a renowned doctor, came to speak, and then Dr. Alpedi. When he came to speak, he came around with his books. Dr. Alpedi came around with his books. As he came around, when he was done, and then he was like, I have some of my books as a bag, so if you want to purchase some of them, feel free. And these books are books that you hardly find in a regular bookshop, like in the normal bookshop. You find them in some bookshops, but in a regular bookshop that you can walk in just regularly. So that gave me the opportunity. I said, come on. So even that day, I didn't have much money on me, but I felt like, okay, let me just buy one. And sometimes the advantage is that because these authors come there themselves, they even reduce the prices so that people can buy. Yes, they reduce the price so that you can buy. So even at that point, you're able to save some money on yourself and get more books. And so this is the end of today's podcast. This is just to share with you some things that I think when you adopt into your life, it can really take your reading lifestyle to another level. Thank you very much. And if you've not subscribed, then you're not doing well. So I encourage you to subscribe, share the link, comment, and then like this video. Share this video with a friend that is trying to develop a reading habit that is finding it difficult. And thank you once again. This is the Spoudazo Book Reading Podcast, and God be thanked for books. Thank you. Bye.